What's good, y'all? It's me, Chris, back here with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing what it's like to be black on Grindr. So before we get into the video, I just want to say welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining the krisbeknowin family. I know a lot of y'all came through way of Justin. He shared my Black Excellence is a Scam video. And thank you so much, Justin. I appreciate the new traffic and the engagement that I've been getting on my channel. And thank y'all so much for engaging in that video. I received so much positive feedback. So many people just commenting on my personality and on the content in which I produce. I even had someone leave just such a heart-touching comment in regards to that he could never see himself being Black excellence because he thought that he would need to live a life of celebrity or such high education when he's just trying to teach his son to be a better human being in the world. And I'm like, that is what Black excellence is. That's literally it. It made me cry. It was a very emotional moment. And you know, sometimes doing this is really hard because I have such a small channel and I'm not getting paid, but comments like that makes me realize how necessary that the work I do is, and how much that there are other people who just want to be seen and valued, and they want their identity to be seen as important and of necessity. And I swear to you, y'all who are watching this, and myself included, we're so needed for each other. We're so needed for each other. I promise you, we need all of each other to exist. We need each other. And it's just a nice little reminder, and I appreciate y'all so much. I asked you to please bear with me on the audio. I know that a lot of people commented in that Black Excellence is a Scam video that the audio was weird. I recorded my iPhone, y'all. That's how I'm getting my YouTube channel popping, is recording from my iPhone. I don't have a microphone. I don't have a fancy camera. I use natural lighting. I use iMovie to edit. I try to fix it in the editing process, but sometimes it doesn't always work out. The reason why the audio sounds kind of weird sometimes is because there gets lint built up around the speaker on the phone, because I put my phone in my pocket, I have it in my bed sometimes, or it's in my jacket. So I can clean out those speakers from time to time, but there's no way of the sound quality being as pristine as it would be if it was on a camera. I'm working up to save on a camera. If anyone wants to donate, I'm not asking. If you feel compared, I will leave my Cashapp in the comments below, in the description box. And you know, if anybody wants to contribute towards that, but I am working so hard to try to save up for a camera so that way I can produce better quality content so people will actually subscribe, because I'm sure that that was something that deterred quite a few people from subscribing to my channel, was because of the sound quality. And that sucks because that's generally not the totality. That's not like the common thread through my videos. The sound is usually good, but that's just a problem that I'm working on, so please bear with me. So I want to talk about my experience of being Black on Grindr. I was speaking to Justin. He and I have a really good relationship. He's very supportive offline, and just wants to see me win, and he champions me a lot. So he and I were talking, and he shared this article on the experience of a Black gay man. It was written by Andrew Bailey. I will link it in the description box so you guys can check it out. I think it's about an 18-minute read, and it's really good, just talking about the perceived history and the portrayal throughout media in which Black men, specifically dark-skinned Black men, have been subjected to. And it's talking about how that's in relation to dating apps and pornography, and just how the socialization it is of being a Black queer millennial, Gen Z, probably even I would say Gen Xer as well. And it's a really good article, and that just got me inspired to want to share what my experience has been like of being a Black gay man on Grindr. So for all the straights out there, Grindr is a gay dating app. It is the mecca of all dating apps. It's the most commonly used one. There's other ones, Tinder, Scrub, Growler. A lot of Black men use Jack, so those are the other 4 competing apps, but Grindr is probably the most common one that you'll hear amongst the gays. Grindr came out in 2009. I didn't get hit with Grindr until about 2012. At that time, I was like 300 plus pounds, and so my experiences on there weren't very positive. I was like straight up ignored. I was straight up like blocked. I had like really hateful comments toward me, even more about my body. I've experienced more hate on my body type than I have my skin color, surprisingly. And so I just had deleted the app for 2 years. I said, this is too much. I started interacting with like friendlier apps like Growler's a great app for like men of larger size. But we call it like bears and cubs in our community. So I just like I just surfed that app for a few years. I ended up losing about 80 pounds. And so I came back on Grindr about 2014, and where I felt like, okay, maybe my identity will matter and people will see me a bit more as human. And surprisingly, it did. Unfortunately, that's part of the society we live in. We're very fucking anti-fat. We are very fat phobic, and that's a whole another video that I can make about that. But I was seen as more valuable once I had dropped a few LBSs. So I've been active on Grindr for 6 years now, and I want to preface the story by saying that like I've had good exchanges, good experiences on Grindr. I've met quality men to have friends with benefits with. I've had great just casual hookups. I've even made like an international friend. I've even like dated a few people. Like I've had great experiences on Grindr. I think with dating apps in general and social media, it's really about like the experience you make it. Now, of course, you can't control like what type of people are going to flock to you and try to exchange with you, but it's really about like you curating the experience that you want to have on these dating apps. And so you take the good with the bad. And overall, like it's been a good experience for me, but I just want to share what it's like being black on Grindr, and I want to say that these are my experiences. I'm just speaking as a person, a part of the community. I can't speak for the community. The black gay community is so diverse. It's a huge spectrum, and also just depending on like where you live and like what the type of people are around you, your experience will be a little different. But I know that there are a lot of people who view my videos and a lot of people who look like me who share similar experience. So I just want to be able to like create this space in which we can kind of talk about like our experiences of being black and gay on this dating app that is known as Grindr. When you log on to Grindr, it's pretty straightforward. It's a bunch of dating profiles that you can see with that are placed within like the distance of that from where you are. There's a top part in which you can see like new profiles, and you can also filter the profiling if you want to have a certain age range, if you want to have a certain ethnicity, a certain height, if you want to see profiles with photos on that are online available. It's pretty straightforward. It looks very much like user friendly app. Like there's no confusion. There's no like tricks or anything like that. It's a pretty easy app to use. So when you log on, a lot of the times what you'll see in regards to being black is that you'll see a bunch of non-black men looking for BBC. They make these huge proclamations how they're looking for a black dick and how much they love it, and how it's never ass. Hold on to that thought. It's never non-black people looking for like black asses. It's always black dick. And to me, that screams fetishization. That screams fetishization. Like, why are you looking for a black dick when there's lots of other dicks on this app? I'm really confused. Like, you haven't even interacted and you already have like this perceived notion about people who look like me already from the jump. So you see a lot of people use blatant words, blatant phrases of no blacks. You used to see that a lot. You used to see a lot of people being like, well, that's just my preference. And I hate that term, like, it's just my preference. Like, none of our thoughts exist in a vacuum. They are influenced from a larger societal pool. Whether you deem these things as good or bad in which you are attracted to people, they're influenced from somewhere. So a lot of times your preferences are not your preferences. They were influenced from some, more than likely, desirability politics. They were influenced from that aspect. So it's weird when people are like, I don't date black people. But well, why don't you want to date black people? Like, where did that stem from? So a lot of people call that out on the dating apps, on social media. Lots of conversation in real life. I've been in gay spaces where people call out that type of behavior. So now what you see is very like overt. It's very like no white. Oh, I'm looking for whites and Latinos. So they won't say that they're not looking for niggers. They'll just say that they're what they are looking for. Whites and Latinos to the front end of the line. Asians a plus. Like okay, cool, fine then. Like I still see right through your fucking racism, bitch. And in the area that I live in Oakland specifically, I live in Oakland. I frequent between Oakland and San Francisco. Oakland grinder setting is pretty diverse. There's quite a mix of ethnicities. San Francisco, with the influx of the tech industry and a lot of people moving to the Bay Area for job opportunities, it has become very white. The landscape of Grindr is very, very, very white. So I want to preface that if you are in San Francisco and you are a non-black person, just be prepared that the land of the milks is coming on, splashing down into your cup. Stay ready for a swirl. So I'm attracted to all kind of men. Do I prioritize white men? No. A lot of my attention goes primarily to black men first, Latinos next. I'm attracted to Asian and white men, but with my experiences with white men, I'm just very like, just a little hesitant to always jump into certain things because these niggas be out here like fetishizing the fuck out of us. I want to say that like I don't really get the idea of like I think like the idea of I only date black people depends. Like I could understand from a cultural aspect, maybe like interests and food and stuff like that, and hobbies. Like you want to make sure that you're dating someone who is into the same things as you, music as well, right? Like I understand that aspect, but to me it's kind of weird when people use the excuse of like, oh, I don't want to have to explain racism, and I don't want to have you gaslight me, and I don't want to have to deal with explaining my existence to your family and stuff like that, trying to get them to unlearn. And like that's fair. That's like a fair understanding of wanting to not date someone who's not black. But like the thing is, these niggas is just as ignorant too. Like I interact with black men all the time, and where I have to teach them how to unlearn misogyny, teach them like you're fucking transphobic, you're being fat phobic, like you have a lot of internalized homophobia yourself. Like I'm telling you, I've interacted with hella black men, hella niggas who are just as ignorant as white men, but a different aspect, and they gaslight you and make you seem like everything you're talking about is just made up. So I mean, proceed with caution. You know what I'm saying? I understand from a cultural aspect of wanting to date someone that is the same ethnicity, but a lot of times, too many times, I've heard it from an aspect of like, oh, well, I don't want to have to deal with teaching white people about blackness, and I'm like, I gotta teach niggas about misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, talking about class. At the end of the day, there's really no ideal guy. You're dealing with so many socialization and so much conditioning and so much brainwashing that it's like date who you ever can is not going to make you seem like you're lesser and that values you and sees you as beautiful and wants you to do well. Shit. That's the best thing I could tell for a lot of y'all. I'm 6'1". I weigh about 238. I'm a dark-skinned black man, and I know that people will perceive me as a top. They perceive me to be dominant and hypersexual, and I know that they perceive me like this because they approach me as such. I'm gonna show you guys what my current Grindr profile looks like. My headliner is my initials, and nothing on my profile suggests anything sexually aside from what type of sexual positions that I'm into, which is a category that every other person who is on the platform or Grindr can choose to fill out. A lot of the stuff on my profile is just talking about what type of things that I'm into and who I am. There is nothing sexually suggestive about my Grindr profile. However, time and time and again, from non-black people, I will get pictures of their ass and their holes without any type of formalities whatsoever. How did you come to that conclusion? Like, where did you get to the place that you come across my Grindr profile, you look at it, you then decide to send ass pictures and no greeting whatsoever? One, that's fucking rude. Even if we're not even talking about being black and being perceived and working in stereotypes, like, what type of couth, what type of decorum do you have where you just approach someone with nudes? Just nudes. And like that's the thing. I'm not a prude. I'm not opposed to hookups and one night stands and very casual and like kind of like right now. I'm into that. I got whole tendencies, you know, what the kids are saying. But like, can we have a little bit of decorum? Can we have a little bit of formalities of saying hello? How am I? What am I doing right now? What makes you assume that I am available to have sex with you right now and that I would like to top you based on my profile? Like, you had no interaction with me whatsoever. Whatsoever. You had no interaction with me. It's the weirdest thing for a man to come up to me with ass pictures, and I'm never perceived to be a bottom. Remember I said hold on to this thought? Never is it dick pictures that's sent to me. My profile says versatile. Do you know that non-black men don't hit me up for me to bottom? Non-black men do not hit me up to bottom. You wonder why? Because there's been a constant history in this country of the hypersexualization of black men stemming from slavery. And the imagery of that keeps being portrayed into our society constantly. You see that through porn. With the BBC, it's always a dark-skinned black man with a non-black man. And even if it's another black man, it's a light-skinned black man. You see that time and time and again with TV shows and movies. It's always the dark-skinned black man represents like sexuality. You see that in movies like just a recent Girls Trip. It was a dark-skinned black man. You see that in a lot of Tyler Perry's. Like this, like sexual being is always like dark-skinned black man. Like there's this constant imagery that's being projected onto all of us, and non-black men have adapted that and somehow thought that that was an okay approach in which they interact with black men. It's crazy. It's crazy. There are black men as well who internalize that shit and think that that's like the norm. There are black men who fucking love that shit. Like, yeah, BBC here, big black dick here. Like looking like who lean into it. And not to say that there are, of course, there are black men who are that, and like they deserve sex as well, and they deserve to have their experiences be told for sure. There are black men who are just naturally dominant and aggressive. The problem is that you can't cast that wide blanket on all of us. It doesn't give us room to be free, liberated. It kind of almost it reduces us down to something so fucking small, and it doesn't give us the freedom to be able to. I want intimacy. I want to be soft and sweet. I don't get a chance to do that because non-black men don't hit me up for those type of experiences, for those type of exchanges, for those type of encounters. Um, like I have bottomed for non-black men. Never a white man. A white man has never asked to top me. Never. Um, but non-black men have, but predominantly it's always black men who hit me up who are looking for exchanges with if they would like to top. Like it's never white men. I wonder why. It's so pervasive, the idea of dark skinned black men being dominating, being aggressive, being just so fucking sexually driven is so pervasive. It's everywhere. And I would just like to be y'all to be mindful of that. When you are interacting, I don't know if there's a bunch of like non-black people who watch my channel, but like be mindful to see black people as just as us trying to navigate these spaces of dating and intimacy as y'all, and that we're fully realized human beings who are not into wanting to fulfill your sexual fantasies. Like that shit is weird. it's weird when you're like, oh, I want to hook up with a black person or hook up with somebody that's like not your experience. That shit is really fucking weird. Like, it's weird. Do not reduce me down to my race. Did y'all know race play is a thing too? Race play, like people wanting to like reenact like the dynamic in which like white men raped black women, are also flipping it where like black men get like this like revenge, get like retributions, get like some type of like feeling of I conquered the white man by fucking them. That's weird too. Please let that shit go. That is not how we are going to be liberated as black people, by fucking the white man. Let me tell you. You know how we're gonna be that nigga could pay my rent. That would make me feel so liberated if the white man paid my rent, but not me fucking them. That's not my type of reparations. Please, please, please stop. But I just want to make this video just sharing my experience, what Grindr has been like. I just want us to be mindful of that, of the type of like fetishizing that we do of black men. I've seen it time and time again with perceiving black men to be top. I'm starting to observe it be done with black bottoms as well because of fat phobia being a new conversation. I feel like there's also, since there's a lot more progressive conversation happening, there's more liberated fat men and there's more like skinny muscular men like talking about their attraction towards fat men, which is like fine, but I'm starting to see it kind of get into like that fetishization category, like just kind of like wanting like big fat asses, like that still to me kind of feeds into this idea of blackness being like hypersexual and like everything has to be like big and voluptuous, you know, like, so I just want to say we should be careful about that. Like I'm starting to see like where I could see like black bottoms being minimized just to their asses because they like fit some type of like standard of like desirability. Like it's weird too on that aspect. So just be mindful of that. But that's pretty much all the thoughts that I have here on my thoughts about Grindr. I do like Grindr, also because I guess the fact that it's just uh, the most common app out there that I find it to be the most accessible to meet men off of. Um, Maybe I'll make a video about like my interaction on Jack because that's a whole nother thing because that app is predominant in my area, and I know like I've talked to a lot of men around the country, like that app is predominantly used by black men. But that's all the thoughts that I have on this video. Please, if you are a black gay man, or I'm sorry, I also meant to leave black trans women also frequent this app because it's just more of a safe space for them. So if you are a black queer man or black trans woman, I would love to hear what your experience is like being black on Grindr. Please leave it in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the krisbeknowin family. I thank y'all so much again. It's crazy. We're at 350 subscribers. Like, we're making freaking progress in the year of 2020. I love to see it. And I thank y'all so much. The comments and the likes and the compliments. Oh my gosh, like, thank you. Alright, that's it for today's video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!